I started diving in 1959. I worked for a fellow called Louis Snell, and he was a diver. And I got interested in diving when Charlie Bender and Gordy Hutchison found the A Vickery, and they pulled a lot of stuff off the A Vickery, and that got me going. That I wanted to start doing some diving, and he was an instructor in Orlando Otters, and he gave me instructions and what have you, and so I learned it in 1960. I started doing my diving, amateur diving, of course, and for that matter, another thing on the A Vickery, if you ever want to see the anchor, if you go down to the museum in Alex Bay, the ship restaurant in Alex Bay, the anchor out front is off the A Vickery, and that's when they took it out in 1959. We were diving and we found some coins, and I got a couple of them here that I pass around. They are 1812 and 1820s. And you can pass those through. There's an 1812 and an 1820 there. We found quite a few of them, but it took us about 3 years to find them. And what we did, myself and Don Martin, we went up to Ottawa, and we went through the museum or the archives up there looking for shipwrecks. And we ran onto this one information. It was about a trader. He had his stuff on the ice in late March. He was going across the ice, and his buckboard, the back of it fell through, and he lost all of his stuff. And he had quite a lot of stuff. They said it was in offshore about 150 feet. Well, we knew approximately where it was. So we went out, we were diving, it was in the channel. And we kept looking and we couldn't find it, we couldn't find it. And it went on for about 2 years. We know it's right there in that area. I had an underwater metal detector. So I took my underwater metal detector over, I told my buddy, I said, look, I'll try my underwater metal detector. So I jumped in off the docks, I saw on the way out, I'm just gonna look for stuff, make sure it's working right. I found a couple cans. I went out about maybe 40, 50 feet. Boom, I hit something. And I dug down in the sand and I felt something and I pulls it up and I opened my hands up and all these coins onto the bottom. I said, hey, we found it. What happened was, why we were looking in the wrong place, there's only about 35, 40 feet away. Why we were looking in the wrong place is that the shoreline had moved out. So it shortened the distance from the shoreline out. And that's why we didn't take that into consideration at the time. Well, we went and we dove that for a long time. And every time we dove, we took out a 5-gallon drum, or a 5-gallon bucket, one of the white buckets. I drilled a bunch of holes in it. You know, sat down near the piles where they were, and we just picked up handfuls, filled up buckets. Went back to shore, grabbed another one, went out, filled up. We filled up 2 buckets, each one of us filled 2 buckets a day of coins. And these are the coins. And we done that for a couple summers. And I was just talking here about a week ago to a couple of my buddies, the older, they're older now like I am, and their sons are diving there, and they still are finding a couple coins when they dive. There was, we don't know how many it was, maybe 50,000 of them or something like this. And I've got a few extra right here, right now.
No wonder it broke through the ice. I mean,
Yeah.
that had to be heavy.
Yeah, and there was some jewelry involved, and one of the guys that was with it, there was 6 of us, and one of them, he hit the mother load of jewelry. And he never really told us how much he found. He showed us a couple. I found a couple pieces, but nothing of any great value.
So it's finders keepers at that point.
Oh yeah, it was whatever we found, we kept them. And I mean, I had so many coins, but if you ever wanted a coin, if you go down to Alex Bay and the jewelry store just before the tour boats, on the right hand side, there's a jewelry store there. And he has them. Oh, I forgot to bring my necklace. Son of a gun. Anyways, I've got a necklace with one of the coins and an 1812 coin in it. And he made that for me, and I done some trading on coins from him. Here just about, maybe last summer, he bought the rest of my coins. And I've only got maybe 10 or 15 of them left. But I still have a little pile of them there. But it was quite interesting how many we did find. I mean, there were 6 of us, and we all found thousands, literally. I had buckets and buckets full, and my wife kept saying, "What are you gonna do with all these coins?" I don't have any left. I sold most of them. So now, the other thing is bottles. I'm a big bottle nut. Now, these bottles are soda bottles. And they're called ballast bottles. And they're from Ireland. And they had a soft drink in them. And we did find some that were sealed, one or two that were sealed. And we opened it up and tasted it. And it's like a ginger ale or a lime soda or something like that. And these bottles, they're quite heavy. I'm gonna let you guys pass these around and you can look at them. One is a teardrop, and of course they don't stand up, and the other one's a round bottom. Round bottom's got a little bit of a name on it and what have you. And I found, in my long time at diving, I found 4 of the real holders. They're all in one spot, and they're like maybe a pewter or something like that they're made of. And I don't have many more because somebody else wanted them more than I did, if you know what I mean. And
Skip, tell them why they were ballast bottles.
What's that?
Tell them why they were ballast bottles.
What's
Why they were called ballast bottles.
the ballast bottle?
Yeah, why?
They shipped them in the ballast to ships.
Yeah, they're in cases, I guess.
They're
And they were
ballast.
round, so they couldn't stand up, so they
Yeah,
always
they
had
can't
to
stand up.
work
You
with
see,
them.
I'm not gonna pass this one around because this is the only one I ever found. And it's a Crystal Spring water bottle.
It was
And
carbonated
it's
in
an
there. so-
1880 Vision version of it.
Figured they'd choose
And it's in real good shape. And it says at the bottom here, this bottle is loaned only, never sold.
So you gotta give it back.
Yeah.
You gotta give it back.
Yeah, well, I would sell it back to him. I found this off the Clayton docks, and
Yeah.
it's the only one I ever found. Like those bottles there, I found hundreds of those things. And it just on and on with those round bottoms and teardrops. I used to come into the docks, and I'd sit there and I'd wash out bottles during the summer when the tourists, the guys are around. And I'd sit there with my dive gear on. I might not even have been diving. I'd just come down there and want to make a few bucks. And I'd wash bottles out, and I'd set them up on the dock and wash them out. And they come, "Oh my God, diver, you found these bottles? Yeah, I'll give you a couple bucks for it." And I'd make 20, 30 bucks in a day down there. So I used to do that quite often on a weekend. And I did find them underwater, but I might not have found them that particular day. The other thing is, I'll tell you about a story of my own that when I was first diving. I was working for Louis Snell, and it's over in the Lower Bay. He used to have his place, and this is right after I learned how to dive in 1960. And his fisherman person, he come in and he bitched and chewed about losing his anchors, losing his lures and all this on a log. And he asked Louis is a diver, of course, and he says, "Would you come out and dive and pick up some of my anchors and some of my lures?" And Louis, I don't have the time and what have you, so he hollered over to me, "Skip, would you like to come do this for him?" I said, "Sure, what the heck, why not?" And he said, "Well, I'll give you a couple bucks." I said, "That's fine." So we went up this round behind Wolf Island, off Holiday Point. and he threw his anchor in, he hooked. Now this is one of my first real dives on my own without Louis. And I've probably been down maybe 20, 25 feet at the most. And okay, so I'll go down and I'll see what it is. So I dove down, and I'm going down, and visibility back then was questionable. And no depth gauge or anything like this. And I knew I was getting pretty deep. And I kept going down, it got darker and darker, and all of a sudden it really got really dark, and I hit bottom, and there's the anchor, and I look around, and this is wood. And I said, wood, this isn't a shoal, this isn't a log. And I look up, and here's a nice square hole that I swam through. Never even seen it. And it was a hatch of a ship. Wow. My first shipwreck. Well, I kept saying to Louis, or in the back of my mind while Louis was saying, don't panic, just be calm and you work your way out of it. So I went slowly back up onto the deck, and it was a little bit lighter and what have you. And I'm looking around, here's all these anchors and lures and all the lines all around and everything. And well, anyways, I went over to pick a few of them up, and I probably turned around a couple of times and what have you. All of a sudden, I'm drenched in all these lines, fishing lines, and I'm stuck. Now, first dive, really, I mean, on my own. Well, I always carried a knife, and Louis, he is a pretty good sharpener, and them things were like razor blades, and I always had it on my hip or leg. I pulls it out, and I'm just starting cutting these things off, cutting them off. I reach behind me, and I'm cutting them, and what have you. And finally, I felt like I was free, and put the knife back. I grabbed a couple anchors and a couple of the lures, and worked my way up. I come up the line, hit the surface, and scared the Jesus right out of the guy. That's all it was, is just lines hanging all over me, and looked like a monster coming out of water. He goes, oh my God. And then he said, oh, you're all tangled up in lines. I said, yeah, and he pulled them all off me and everything. And I threw them in the boat. I said, well, I'll go down and I'll get a couple more. And I went down, I got a couple more for him and a few lures. Went back to shore. He gave me $5. And I thought that was a millionaire.
You have any idea what depth you were down at?
Yeah, well, it ended up 45 feet. I didn't have a gauge or anything, but now I know it was 45 feet because I've dove it 100 times since then.
And you know what wreck that was?
It was some kind of a sailing schooner off Holiday Point, and I don't think we ever found it.
Schoolcraft.
Well, that was a schoolcraft? Schoolcraft.
Oh, no, Julia. Schoolcraft's the other one that's burned up in shore.
That's on shore.
Yeah, it's in the book.
I don't know, we found it out, but I don't know
It's a Julia.
what it was.
So when was that sunk, do you know, Dennis?
Was that?
It wasn't old. It was old. It was probably in the 1800s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was real old.
Yeah.
And when they put the seaway through, they blew the thing up later on when they got up to doing that area. But I took people up there hundreds of times since then. But that was my first actual shipwreck dive on my own, and I survived it. Since then, I've commercial diving. I've been down a couple hundred feet. Commercial diving, no big deal. On commercial diving, one experience I had, I was down about 50 feet working on a intake line, and I'm working down there, and I hear this big explosion. I mean, it was a big explosion. I said, "What the heck is that?" I looked at my, I had air, so I grabbed my gauge for my bailout and looked at it, and it said 0. I saw the safety valve on the tank blew. So I called back to surface and I told them, and they said, yeah, we just had a big pile of fire come up for some reason. I said, yeah, I blew my safety valve, I think, on my reserve tank. And they said, well, you gotta come up and change it. I said, oh, I got about 15-20 minutes left now. I'll be done with my job. And let me stay and do my job. No, you can't stay. I was arguing with them a little bit about it. And they said, OSHA's on deck. You've got to come up. So up I came and sat in a chair for 20 minutes or so, and they changed the tank all over and what have you, and went back down and done my job. But that, that was the thing with commercial diving, you have to do exactly what they say, or you get all kinds of crap. So, but that was my big experience with an explosion on the thing. Now I got another thing here I wanted to pass around too. This here is shipwreck buttons. Here's a couple of them here. This is my favorite, the Keystone and the Hay Vickery. And we'll show a little bit of that. Whoops, they fell right out of there and that all.
You're not supposed to put it upside down.
Yeah. Anyways, that's them things there, and they're here. These packages, each one of them, there's enough here for probably everybody. If there's not enough, you can always fish out some of the better stuff out of there. They're free. You can help yourself to them. If you want to give a donation to the museum, they probably like that too.
Skip, I put the book there.
Oh. We got books out on shipwrecks, and here's one of them here. We've only
They're for
done
sale at the
about
bookstore.
how many have we done? 8, 10, something like that, of different shipwrecks. This
For
one
sale
here,
at the bookstores.
this is at the bookstore down in Alex Bay, the same bookstore where the jewelry store is.
And over
And
here.
here, we'll pass this around, let you guys look at that while
Little
we're
bookstore.
talking.
Little bookstore in Clayton and Kippens.
And Clayton too, yeah.
Clayton.
Okay. Any questions right now before we show the movies?
So what
Okay.
was the scariest dive that you ever performed?
The what?
What was the scariest
Oh,
dive that you ever
skipper.
performed?
Probably the first one.
Yeah.
Oh, Skipper,
We've got 2 copies of this available today here at the museum.
to buy.
Can I buy one of those?
Yep.
To buy.
Okay.
You sure can.
Probably scariest
I
dive.
forgot.
I was diving the Hay Vickery,
I did too.
had a bunch of people out, and one of the women, she had a problem,
No, we got one in.
and she bolted for the surface. I was right by her, and I grabbed her feet and stopped her. And she was having a little bit of problem, and we slowly come up and got the surface. We're drifting downriver because the current is real bad there. And I got her squared away, and the boat went down and picked us up the other time. The other time was I was diving, sport diving in Cozumel. And the tour company, he sent his wife down with us. Well, she hadn't dove all the time we were down there. She was out on the boat all the time. And she said, boy, I'd like to go diving. And okay, well, and I'm kind of in charge, probably most experienced at the time. I said, okay, you can come with me. So she got her gear on, we jumped in. Her vest wouldn't inflate. And she was having a hell of a time staying on the surface, and I just held her up, and we were right by the boat. I said, that's okay, we'll be all right. And the current was pretty good, and it took us away from the boat a little ways. And she was totally a total mess. And she couldn't inflate, and I was a Scuba Pro dealer at the time, and I had the Scuba Pro everything, and I just inflated my vest totally, and I was holding her up. And we were drifting, the current was pretty good. And I was howling to them, the boat was a little ways away from us, and they pointed to the back surface line. But the surface line, the boat was here, and the surface line was going off like this. I couldn't get to it. And we were drifting. And I pulls her up on my back, or my front like this, holding her. And she was still quite panicky. And I said, we're all right. And most we do is drop all of our gear. And I looked back and I said, well, we're heading for Cuba. We'll get there sometime. And I shouldn't have said that, because that would have made it worse. And the boat was getting smaller and smaller. And the only words I know in Mexico is andale, andale. And I kept holding my hand up, andale, andale, like that. And they couldn't leave because they had all the divers down. And they waited, and the boat kept getting smaller and smaller. And finally I seen the boat turning. They come down and picked us up. That was pretty scary. But that was her, it wasn't my fault, it was her fault. And I don't, I've been a couple hundred feet and, it doesn't bother me a bit. I mean, it didn't bother me then, it probably couldn't get down on the water now because my sinuses are all screwed up. I had to quit diving, basically, a few years ago. But I had about 55 years of it. And I was diving commercially a lot. And I've dove every Great Lake. And St. Lawrence River, the Finger Lakes, any ponds around, I've dove them. Any rivers I've dove. I've been up on Gulf of St. Lawrence, dove the Empress of Ireland, and that one sunk in 1912, and it had like 1,200 people lost on it. It was almost as big as Titanic, but it didn't show up as much because World War II broke out, or World War I broke out. I mean, that's about, I've been pretty lucky. I haven't had too much real problems.
You dove for a living?
I was a commercial diver for quite a few years. I started out probably in the 70s, and it was part-time. Well, when the Singapore Trader went aground up here in the early 70s is when I really got into it, because people don't realize they have to pick up when they come through the line or come through to Montreal. They have to stop at Montreal and they have to pick up a special insurance policy. And at that time, there was two companies that issued the policies to sail the lakes. And one of the policies was on the Singapore Trader. The insurance adjuster, he was in Clayton, and he was around Clayton looking for somebody to do some diving on the Singapore Trader. Somebody gave him my name. He called me up, and he was up the Seaway Hotel. I went up there and had a meeting with him, and he explained the situation to me. So I said, okay, sure, we'll go out and we'll take a look at it and see what the problem is. And I did. I inspected the whole thing. And then since then, up until maybe 20 years ago, I guess, 15, 20 years ago, they would call me when one of their ships went aground, and they'd fly me to wherever it was. Alpena, Michigan, I was at one time, and a couple other places. So I'd go just about every place.
So what was your mission on these different
To
times?
inspect the ship, to see how much damage was done, and how to salvage it. And the Singapore Trader was, it wasn't savable, and they moved it back to, I guess it was Japan or someplace, and they tore it apart,
Skip, the Twix 76 was on that.
Oh, the oil spill?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. I don't know if everybody remembers in '76 when the oil spill barge hit, and there was oil all over this river, literally. Well, they called us up, or called me up, I should say, and they wanted to have an inspection of how much damage was done and how much oil was left in the hull and what have you. And I called Charlie Bender, he's a good friend of mine, and Jerry Harrington. They were both club members and good friends. So we went down, worst thing we ever did. But beforehand, I had talked to them. I said, well, if we ruin any of our gear, you're going to replace it. And they said, yeah, fine, no problem. So we went down, and we got down there inside the barrier that they had, and we looked at the thing, and yeah, there's still oil in there. And they said, well, how much is in there? I don't know, we've seen some bowls. They said, well, you got to get them out. So we went in there with bags, and we had air in the bag. We opened the bag up, and we put it over top of the bubble, and we pushed it down, and one of the guys, this is inside the ship, one of the other guys would grab the bag, pull it out, tip it upside down, all the oil go to the surface. And we've done that half a dozen times anyways to get it. And then sometimes we just push the oil out. We were just soaked with oil. Oh, horrible. I had what I call a shark skin suit, and it's shark skin, real rough. I got done, it was smooth, literally smooth. And all of our gear was ruined, and we just got all brand new gear. And Charlie, he had a beard like yours. He had to shave the whole beard off, and he cut himself and everything. It was horrible, just horrible. He had a horrible time. And fortunately, we had a hood on, so our hair didn't get too bad. But that was terrible. Just
That was the
terrible.
worst dive you've ever
Oh, that
encountered.
was the
Yeah.
dirtiest I've ever had, that's for sure. It was
Yeah.
terrible. But that caused a lot of problems. Right to this day, you can go out on these islands, you can still see a little bit of the oil on some of the islands. They clean most of it off, but it was terrible, just terrible. You know, I've got a couple I got a real short one, movie, and it shows 3 of the wrecks. It's the Iroquois, the Victory, and the Keystorm, and then I got a full-length 15-20 minute movie on the Iroquois. Now, there's one other thing I wanted to mention that people don't realize is that we have, within 10 miles of here, we have the oldest shipwreck, diveable shipwreck in the Great Lakes.
Wow.
The Iroquois sunk in 1760. It was built in Maitland. I think they laid the keel in 1759, 58 or 59. It was launched. It was a French vessel. Big war against the British down in Augsburg off Chimney Island. If you go across the Augsburg Bridge and you look to the east, you'll see a little island. That's Chimney Island. It was sunk there. The British salvaged it, and they renamed it the Anson in 1860 in the fall. It was heading upriver with some supplies for the Southern Tier. It hit a shoal off Fisher's Landing and sunk. And in I think it was 62 or 63, divers from Utica, was it Utica? Binghamton, okay. They found it. They pulled the cannons off it, and one of the cannons is out to the college, out to Wartown, the Cannoneers. That's one of the cannons they pulled off it. The other one is down in where they live, and we're trying to get it back now. Have we got it yet? Not yet.
Can't say anything.
Yeah, it was. We're
No
working on it.
comment then?
And that was, we dove it, me and Charlie, we dove it about a week or 2 after they found it. And it was pretty much intact. It was not intact, it's been down a couple hundred years, but it was pretty good. But that's the oldest diveable shipwreck in the Great Lakes, in St. Lawrence River. And we also have the newest diveable shipwreck in the Great Lakes. And that's the one off the Coast Guard station. It went down in 73. What's the name of it? Jodrey. Yeah, the Jodrey. It's in a couple hundred feet of water. It is diveable. The Edmund Fitzgerald went down in 74 or 75, but that's 100 or 500 feet of water, and it's really not diveable. So I consider those 2 wrecks, the newest diveable one and the oldest diveable one, within 10 miles of here. And that is, I think, kind of neat to know.
Yeah. What's the deepest dive that you've ever done, Skip?
220 feet.
Where was that?
That was down in, let me just think a second. Kingston? No, Toronto area. I dove, another thing, when I was commercial diver, I had a visa for work permit for Canada. I was working for a company over there. I worked for about 2 years for them over there. And we dove mostly in Canada at the time. And they had to get me in, they had to tell the government that, and explain to the government that I had experience that they could not get in their area, and I was an underwater pipe specialist. Is what I laid pipes for almost every state park in this area, and like Keewaydin, Coal Creek, Grassy Point, Mud Bay. I mean, I've done a lot. Chameau, we done one across Chameau Bay. That was a big one. So I mean, I've done a lot of that. But they had to get permit to get me on in Canada. I worked over there for about 2 years, and that was it was interesting. But well, one thing we did was kind of interesting, and you was talking about scary. The hospital in Kingston drew their water from the lake, or from the river right there. There's a lake, part of the lake. And in January, they ran out of water and for the hospital because they couldn't drag it in for some reason. So the company I worked for knew where the intake was. And January, froze over, went out, cut a hole in the ice. We had a wood platform with a hatch on it, a tent on it, and they had a heater in there and what have you. And there was 2 of us, 90 feet to the platform, to the intake. And we had to go down through the hole. This is under the ice in winter to the intake, swim up the intake and find out what's plugging. There was a tree plugging it. Got big branch, a bunch of branches. So we had to get up in there and try to get them out. We couldn't pull them out. So we had to rig up a winch and run the cable up and hook it on, and then to the surface through the hole, and then winch it up out of the thing. And we did that, and there was 2 of us diving all the time. We, 90 feet, you only stay there so long. And it took us, I don't know, 2 days, I think it was, to do that job. But we got it done. But that was kind of through the ice in 90 feet of water in the middle of winter.
Not ideal conditions.
No, and visibility crap. You gotta have lights and all that. We had big floodlights that they put down and what have you. So it was all right, but it's still, we have to go up in the pipes. And I've done a lot of swimming up in pipes. That's not fun because there's not that much room. You can't get stuck.
Claustrophobic, right? It's claustrophobic, right?
If you were, you wouldn't want to do it.
Right.
Any other questions before we run the movie here? The first one is going to be about, we're going to have some cannons. It's a real short one. It's cannons. That's from the Carlton Island project in the 70s. And then we have some on the Iroquois and some on the Vickery and some on the Keystone. And this is real short, and then we'll have a real good one on the yeah, go ahead. I think they've heard me talk long enough. Okay, now this is a Iroquois. Been down there for a couple 100 years. Now these little white tags are a project that we did. Dennis had, we had a group over from Canada and the US team, and we done this underwater survey of this wreck. And you'll see the little white tags on the ribs and the numbers, so we could make a nice thing of it. And this is all that's left of it. There's not much left, but it is the oldest wreck in the river and the Great Lakes.
Skip, can we cut the lights?
I don't know if we can shut the lights off?
Yep,
Thank you.
1 second.
There's a rib, and there's a rib.
Looks like part of an acre.
This will be just on the next one will be a lot better picture of it.
It has nothing on it. So
No, there's nothing on it. I found a cannon once. Thought I did. Got them all excited. Thought I found a cannon. It was an eel.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did
Yeah,
anybody
my
at a
black and
national
review
level
back
show
in
any
the day.
interest in this?
This is all, you see the double ribs right there.
Canada was very excited because they've looked for this wreck forever. They were very excited when they found it.
Skip, Tom had a question. Tom,
Yeah, what was my question? All right.
was there national interest?
Oh, yeah, was there, you know, I mean, obviously you went down, but was there interest, did any, divers come in from international level?
We had Canadians
Yeah.
and US divers.
And British and French.
Oh, we had British there too?
Consultants that talked.
Okay, we had.
New York State had no interest in this wreck because it was
Yeah.
during, when it was work was being.
You can see all right.
Going on, it was a French ship that sunk on British sail.
Okay, this is the A Vickery now. This is the A Vickery.
Do these ships have zebra mussels on them?
That's what's that?
Do they have zebra mussels?
They have mussels.
Zebras, yeah, that's all zebra mussels there.
That's what I
This is
thought.
all zebra mussels. That's a dead eye on it. This is all zebra mussels here. This is only a few minutes. See, there's a rail of the, this is the A Vickery now, right? It's all the railing.
That's good.
She's off Rock Island Lake. This is the one that Charlie Bender and Gordy Hutchin found in '59.
When was this footage taken, Skip, do you know?
This was 1990.
Yeah.
Just when the zebra mussels cleared the water up real good, we could get good pictures.
Did your names get documented as the finders?
The what?
Did your names get documented as the finders? Like, so if someone from
I
the
wasn't-
British or the Canadian,
No, I wasn't the finder.
You weren't the finder.
Charlie Bender and Gordy Hutchison.
did their
And
names,
they got,
they got credit?
yeah, oh yeah. They always claimed it. The good one about them, and let's see, might be, it's still the Vicar. There's gonna be a key storm here pretty quick. But I just put shorts on this because I didn't figure we should go into too detailed. They went out and bought 2 tanks, went down, Charlie Bender and Gordy Hutchison, never had any training or anything like that. And they read a book and then went diving and found this the first dive. For when they kill themselves, but yeah. People have died on this one.
It's like cables, they wouldn't have been cables.
So are you a fan of zebra mussels because of the clarity of the water?
To be honest about it, no. It's ruining the prestige of the ships or the vessels. It is, and then the weight of them is actually hurting the ship.
Really?
When they die and they peel off some wood. And this ship now is this is a key storm now, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a key storm. When they die and they peel off, the wood deteriorates, and the deck right now in a few years is going to collapse.
Really?
Yeah, unfortunately.
And I can't take a shower.
This is the pilot house of the key storm.
My skin.
Keystorm's over by Dark Island. My sister.
Yeah, it's off Skull Island Shoals, just off Dark Island.
And when did that sink?
Yep.
Sink.
When did it sink?
When it's in 1912. It was a brand new ship coming over, and the pilot, the captain, he got tired, so he went to bed and let the second mate run it. It was in a fog, hit the shoal. So they did do a salvage on it. They tried to salvage. They had a hard hat diver down there. They wrapped. You'll see them right today. The cables are wrapped around the ship in different spots, and they tried to lift it. And at the time, the bow was sticking out of the water, and every time they pick it up, it would start doing this, and they let it back down, and they try to pick it up, and it ended up at, I think it's 25, 30 feet to the bow, 110 to the prop, and they finally gave it up. And then, of course, they gave it up because it's still there.
Did it have cargo?
Coal. Yeah. And now we'll run the next one, Dennis, as well. This is all on the Iroquois, and this was done in 1990, what was it, 1990, 91?
95 roughly.
Okay, and
You want
Some
audio
min-
on this?
what's that?
Want audio?
No, don't bother with the audio. This is the Iroquois again, and there will be a lot more of it now. You'll be able to see a lot more of it, and there's about 15 minutes or so of it. But this here ship, to me, is one of the best shipwrecks in the lake, because in the river or whatever, because it's so old, and it still exists. And I've had, I don't know, 50 dives on it, 100 dives maybe, I don't know. It's fascinating. When we first found it, or once we realized it, and a week or two later after it was found, we went down, and it was in pretty good shape. See, that's the little tag that we were putting on. And Dennis and Kathy, they both were in charge of giving the details to the divers, what they're supposed to do when they go down. And I'll never forget this. I don't think we got a picture of that gal. The gal stood about this tall, and her tank was, I mean, she had a full-size tank on, and she was only about like this. A little person. I mean, she wasn't young either. I mean, and she dove with that big tank. And we all got a kick out of that. I don't know if this is on that or not, but it was hilarious. This 50-gallon drum got in the middle of it somehow. I don't know.
That wasn't cargo.
Yeah, that's cargo, yeah.
Dennis
But
is
it,
getting
it,
we can go archaeological.
But you see the other side over there, that's through.
Right there now.
There was, at this, in 90, there was actually quite a lot left to it. But now the ribs have all kind of went like that, I guess. They tell me, I haven't dove it in a while, so I don't know what kind of condition it's in, but well, if you're 200 yards, a couple hundred years underwater, you wouldn't be in good condition either, so. Anybody got any other questions while we're running this? It's
How big is the dive club today? How active is the dive club today?
The vice president is sitting
Well-
behind you.
Yeah, there's the vice president right there. They're not as active as they should be, as far as I'm.
Sorry about that.
Oh, we don't want any controversy here.
Yeah, I didn't want that.
You open up a can of worms here.
It's not as big as it used to be. When Skip was in, it was what, 100, more than a couple hundred.
We had a lot, well,
And they had
I
their
was
own
a founding member in 67, 68 in that area. And, 5 of us was a founding member. And, I'm the only founding member left standing. And, we had at the time we had a radar dome, we had property, we had, our own vessel. We had, the best vessel we had was a Rackaroo 2. It was a 35-foot captain's gig. It was, we could load that, we loaded 30, 40 people. We shouldn't have, but we did. We load them on, they hang on the decks and up on top and in the bow, and except when it was raining, and then there was a small cabin and everybody wanted to be in there. But we used to go down to the Keystorm, and we used to go down to the lake. I mean, we went everywhere with that boat. And it was a heck of a dive boat. It was beautiful. The only problem was it was made of wood, and there was a lot of maintenance, and it got to be to the point where we weren't able to keep it up because not enough people would work on it. And me and Charlie Bender was mostly doing all the work. Oh, you gotta caulk it, and it was not the most interesting thing to do when you don't have it in the water and diving out of it. But it was a great dive boat. I mean, it was one that had a nice platform on the back, had a toilet in it, everything, so if you had to go, you could. And, you know, that was before you had to have a holding tank too.
Yeah.
But, then we had a couple other boats. We had a pontoon boat, after that, and that was a nice boat because we could travel it. We had a Lone Star, a metal Lone Star, I think that was about a 18 footer or something like this. I took that up to Tobermory, diving up there. I think, was you on that trip right here with that Lone Star? And Dennis and Kathy was on one of those trips. Them bubbles are from a diver, by the way, and he's right down over the side there someplace. Can't see him, but,
So I got another question. So growing up in the area, you always heard of hunts underwater.
oh, sure.
How connected was hunts with you? You with them? I mean, were you?
We kind of knocked horns a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he had a shop in Watertown, and I was telling him that he needed a shop down here. And he didn't want to bring one down, he'd, oh, no business down here. So I said, well, if you're not gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. So I set my own dive shop up. In this late 60s, early 70s. I ran it for about, well, I think the 80s when I gave it up. French Creek Marina has it now. But after a few years of running the dive shop down here, he moved down here. So he had a shop down here too. I proved to him that there was business down here.
Well, you would think so. I mean, right on the river.
I would come home from diving, because I didn't let me stop on a Saturday. I'd come home from diving, and my wife was running the shop. She would fill tanks and everything. I'd come home and there'd be 100 tanks laying in the driveway to be filled for tomorrow on Saturday. Work all night filling tanks. That's how bad it was. I mean, it was bad.
That's how good it was.
And back then, by the way, it taught $1.
Hey, you only got $1 for a tank.
$1 a bill. And I had a card, which you get 10 fills for $10. Yeah.
All right, so a simple question, but for the unfamiliar, what are you putting in the tank? Is it just pure oxygen, or is it?
No, it's compressed air.
Compressed
It's
air.
filtered air, really. You have a filter on it and you compress the air.
Did you have to buy a larger tank and then you fill?
Oh, yeah, I
Alright,
had
so
a bank of 6 tanks.
It wasn't like you just bought a compressor from Lowe's and filled up tanks.
No, you had to have I got mine out of New England Divers, out of New
Alright.
England. And you have to have filters, and you have to change the filters. You use different chemicals in the filters to filter the air.
Now, were you very thankful that you were that busy?
What's that?
Were you very thankful that you were that busy?
Were you thankful you were that busy?
I wasn't.
Do you
I wasn't that busy. My wife was.
Yeah.
And she bitched about it. Oh, she still bitches about it. After 60 years, she still bitches about it. But she collected the money too.
Okay, and you're still married, so there you
Yeah.
go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Is there an active dive club, store is Hunt still operating today?
Yeah, down on the Bay Road.
Yeah.
It is still open.
Yeah,
I drive by and I didn't know if it was open or just
right.
from
And-
old days it's still
And
there.
there's one in the
Yeah.
Alex Bay, a different company down there. And just across, basically across from the gas station, there's one right there. It used to be a boat line ticket office. And I think the boat line still has something to do, but he has a shop there. And that's the Alex Bay group, and they're very, very active.
Now, not to be necessarily macabre, but did you ever find bones or skeletons in your dives?
A couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to be on the Fisher Landing Rescue, underwater rescue team. I was a fireman in Fisher Landing Rescue, or Fisher's Landing, I was a fireman, and I started the underwater rescue team for them. And I don't think they have it anymore, but because the troopers took it over after a while. And we found people, yeah.
So you had to recover bodies? Was it
A few
part-
times, yeah. It was something.
John Craig, sitting back here, found a diver in his wetsuit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He had been down, what, 25 years or something?
25.
Yeah.
Oh,
He was diving on the
Peel.
Sir Robert Peel.
Tried to.
So this.
He was trying to get there. I don't think he ever got there.
Didn't get
Wow.
165 feet, was it?
Yes.
140.
140
Nice
feet.
fin.
He was tall, yeah. That was
So why didn't he make it down? What come with him? Do you know?
He
run
had
out of
a
air.
problem in the water with his
Well,
buddy.
the problem with that was he had his buddy had doubles, he had a single, and you don't dive that way. You either both dive with singles, you both dive with doubles. You don't separate like that. He ran out of air and the buddy didn't. And they were down too long.
no doubt the buddy probably tried to save, you would think so.
I don't know what happened,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, we've lost people on the Vickery. One guy, he was a real experienced diver from Rochester, I think he was, and they dove the Vic, and their anchor, they got back up, the anchor stuck, and he had what they call a Polish setup on the tanks. He had two regulators on two different tanks, and he got to the surface, and the anchor was stuck. And he was an experienced diver. That's what makes it kind of difficult. And he said, well, I've still got 800 pounds. I'll go down and unhook the anchor. He only had 200 on one tank, 800 on the other tank. Apparently, what they figured out was he put the regulator in with the 200 pounds and went down, ran out of air, and didn't realize that he had 800 pounds in his other tank. Because when they found him, the one tank was empty and the tank with 800 pounds still had 800 pounds in it. He didn't switch over. He could have switched over and he didn't. But he was, he was 110 feet of water. This here's, I threw this in just to fill in a little bit so that people could see they get a little bit better look at the wreck, But this is the oldest diveable wreck in the Great Lakes. And I think that, I didn't know this was on here. This is my buddy Don Martin. And we always went out diving together. We had our own program. This is our program that we had. My son, he worked for Channel 10, and we had 22 programs, diving programs out there. It was a cable network, and this is what we're doing. We kidded around before with each other. I don't know if this is the one I had the cannon on. I had a styrofoam cannon that I made like it was real heavy picking it up. I said, Don, I need some help picking this cannon up. He lifts it up and carries it away.
So what time frame is this?
Oh, 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah, 70s, maybe early 80s. But that's the dive program right there. I got all kinds of adventures I can talk about, but it kind of.
So through the years, you've been interviewed by different organizations, I'm sure. What is the most senior organization that interviewed you? Have you ever been interviewed by any diving magazines,
Just people on Channel 7.
Channel 7? No
Yeah.
higher?
No, I don't. I'm trying to think if I've done anything. Might have done something in Canada. I've been interviewed by the police on rescues and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I kind of stay out of the.
So you feel your story's been captured in
books?
books
We've
and
got several of these books out.
yeah.
And I don't know if it's so much my stories,
Well,
but
we all have a story.
yeah. These books here tell the stories of the shipwrecks. I mean, me and Dennis and Kathy.
And you have a lot when you tell how to dive the wrecks and what you.
Yeah, there's a lot of information on how to dive the wrecks and stuff like this.
Also the original.
And always
river
safely.
rat.
Always figure safety.
And you're being filmed today.
Oh yeah. I didn't even realize it. So I didn't know I was being realized. Phil, I charge extra for that.
Okay.
Now, if anybody wants any of these buttons, I got a couple here. My favorite ones, the Vic and the Keystorm. And these are buttons of all the
Danny, how
wrecks
much
that
do you
we've
want
got
for
right
books?
here. There's packages here.
Oh,
You're
15.
more than welcome to them. Help yourself. There's these 3 or 4 here are all the ones, and then these here are just spares. You can more than welcome to them.
Did you get your money back?
And
Did you get your coins back?
I'm gonna go to.
Coins back? Yeah, they're over there.
and I don't know if there's anyone here today, but there's a dive display on the
Oh, yeah.
second floor.
Oh, yeah.
Check your pockets.
Yeah. Now, if somebody wanted a coin like this, 1812, 1820s, go down to the museum or the jewelry store in Alex Bay, and he'll set you up with one, I'm sure.
If we tell them you sent us, he'll give us a free coin.
Discount?
Well, he might charge you more.
Any idea what that particular coin, the 1812, is worth?
I've sold them for over $20.
$20.
Yeah. And yeah, they're not worth it. You look in the book, they're only worth a couple
Yeah.
bucks.
So when you first started diving, was it required that you get certification by the state or
Oh, YMCA was my first one.
YMCA?
Yeah, that was the first one.
Okay.
I've had several.
Okay.
And commercial diving, you go through all the other different programs. It's a
Much more
long
intensive?
program. You have to have first aid, advanced first aid, before you can even take the course. And then you gotta go through, I mean, it's a lot of work. And it's expensive. I done mine in Canada.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're any more strict than the United States or not, but you have to know all the ins and outs about it. It's a lot, it's a lot to it.
Sold out?
And, safety is always a factor. That's the big, safety, and safety.
When did you last dive?
When was my last one?
Yeah.
6 years ago, about.
You miss it?
Terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta realize, my worst year of diving was 300 dives.
Oh my God.
Worst as the fewest dives? When you say worst
Yeah.
with 300.
Probably the fewest would be probably 50, cause I dove every week.
300 was worse because it was just so busy.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
commercial mostly. I dove all day, all week, commercial. I come home on weekends and dive sport diving.
Yeah.
You were addicted.
You're crazy.
Yeah, well, my wife likes the money, you know, and you can't argue about that. When the wife
No.
is happy, you're happy.
That's right. Happy wife, happy life.
There you go. And it, that was my worst with 300 dives. I mean, that was, yeah. I was ready for a little bit of relaxation for that. But mostly in the summer, I would dive every Saturday, every Sunday, every weekend. I'll tell you a quick little story. We got married, right, in '64, and we went on our little honeymoon just overnight. Got back on Saturday and Sunday. Got back on Sunday. The following week, my wife come Saturday and went diving. Come Sunday, I'm out getting my gear ready to go, and this is nothing to do with church or anything like this. I don't have anything against it. And my wife comes out, and she was a churchgoer, and she was in her Sunday dress. Yeah, she come out and she says, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm getting ready to go diving." She said, "Well, we're going to church." I said, "There's your car. Go." No, I took off one dive. She turned around, went in, and never said another word about going to church. And she was a churchgoer. I mean, she Sunday school.
But she continued going. She continued
Oh,
going.
she could have gone.
No, but I mean, in life though, she went to church, but she didn't bug you about
She
going with
never
her.
went. She never
went
Never
again.
offered to go right to this day. 62 years in July.
You turned her away
September.
from going to church?
No, I didn't. I told her.
That's
she
what
could
I
go.
heard.
I said, "There's your car. You can go. My church is on the
Apparently
river."
that's what she heard too.
Your religion was diving, correct?
Damn right.
Yeah.
Yeah, dang right. I dove. I mean, I was an avid diver. I dove since 61 to 62. I dove pretty much every weekend, right straight through the full time.
Yeah.
Other than 67 and a few years after that when I went into service. I didn't dive. I dove a couple times in service for them, but it was just nothing. You know, they had a dock they needed a chain found or something, you know, like that.
And your favorite dive of all time?
My favorite dive?
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably the A Vickery, I guess, is because I dove that so many times. The A Vickery was it's a nice wreck. The Empress of Ireland was a nice wreck, but I didn't feel comfortable on it. I only dove there one weekend, and they lost 1,100 to 1,200 lives on it. And I felt it was kind of we're invading, because most of them were still there.
Wow.
But you didn't see them, of course, but they were still there. But I felt the invasion of it. I didn't. A lot of people died.
And it was a foggy night and it sank and 1,200 people died.
I don't know, just my favorite dive is just when I come back.
Come back alive.
Yeah, I come back, I was happy.
What's with the shirt?
Oh, I used to build St. Lawrence skiffs.
Wow.
My family's boat builders. And for that matter, there's up here someplace, they show the minesweepers they built here. My grandfather used to work on them.
Wow.
Yeah, but I'm still a woodworker. I build that around my chairs all the time. That's my hobby now after I stopped diving.
Well, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Help yourself to those things up.